Hi, my name is Tim Miller, and I'm a comedian in Washington, D.C. I'm also a veteran and a survivor of non-Hodgkin's T-cell lymphoma. Please join me this Saturday for the second annual Cancer, A Veteran's Perspective. Our keynote speaker will be Dr. Richard Kennedy, author Derek Butts, with his father, Thomas Butts. We'll also have a talk from Dr. Roland Thorpe Jr., hosted by the Reverend Dr. Michael T. Bell. Again, that's this Saturday, August 15th, from 8 to 9:30 a.m. It'll be on Facebook/Vets in Transition. Hope to see you there.
Today, the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund is serving an average of 100 packaged meals from World Century Kitchen. We're serving this on a daily basis to our seniors and immune-compromised residents. Because of the pandemic, we're doing this as our COVID-19 relief effort. This helps to prevent our seniors from having to go out to grocery stores and the market, putting themselves at greater risk contracting the disease.
Nice deep breath. Exhale in front of your body. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. And take a nice deep breath and raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, bring them down in front of your body. Nice and slow. Always remembering who you are. Nice deep breath.
Even though they may have been in the infantry or artillery, soldiers are trained in leadership skills also. Once you reach a certain rank, you're going to be in charge of somebody.
But if you want people that make your business run even better, and this includes the spouses of veterans, because those spouses have to do a lot. They basically have to manage a small business. As the work environment shifts and becomes more competitive, you also have these young people exposed to technology.
And a delightful, gracious good morning to everyone. I bring you greetings. I think today is a day that you and I will both appreciate. Stick with this program. You're going to be blessed. I am Michael Tyrone Bell, Senior Serving Shepherd of Peace Baptist. I've been obliged, privileged, if you will, to serve as your host for this Veterans in Transition moment. An exciting program is on tap. Certainly, we would pause and ask that you will, in whatever your sacred space, retreat to it with me for just a brief moment. Eternal God, we thank you as we invoke your presence. Oh, how we love, adore, appreciate you, and to be able this early in the morning, while the dew dances upon petals and leaves, to kiss your face. Bless now these efforts and our every endeavor, and we will give you praise and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you. I don't know about you, but I always feel better when I have a little talk with the Lord. I want to share with you that coming soon will be our event sponsors, and the sponsors are Mr. Jimmy Slade, Community Ministry of Prince George's County, Mr. William Battle, who is over the EMMANUEL Health and Education, and our fearless leader, Mr. Rod Miner of Business Resource TV Consulting. And with that, let me just ask and encourage you, listen to our executive producer.
Thank you, Pastor. Good morning. I'm Rod Miner, executive producer of Business Resource Consulting. We create promotional platforms and digital content for businesses, veterans, and the cancer community. I'm truly delighted that you're here this morning. I'm celebrating 16 months as a prostate cancer striver, thriver, advocate, and champion. In other words, #STAT. This morning's event is about men's health in general, but prostate cancer awareness specifically. As you know, the DMV has a high death rate of prostate cancer for African American men. It's extremely important that you stay on point to your regular health checkups. Get checked. We have a great program this morning. I have a good lineup. We'll stretch you this morning with our morning wake up. We'll share information. We'll tell stories, not lies. We'll make you laugh. And also this morning, we have assembled a panel of prostate cancer stakeholders, survivors, and those who support us. Over the past year, I've met some incredible people who have shared their story and their passion to impact change in the community for better prostate cancer health outcomes for African American men. So I want to thank you for those who are watching us on Facebook. And if you have any questions, please use the chat. And after the program, we'll have our shameless plug where we invite our resource collaborators to share their story. And so with that, again, I thank you and for joining us this morning. And I hope that you have an engaging morning of information, storytelling, and networking. And with that, I'll kick it back to our host this morning, Reverend Dr. Michael T. Bell.
Thank you so very much, Brother Rod. I want to accent the fact that this early morning wake up, going to ask Mr. Eric Gorvin, who's going to tantalize our mind, help our body with mind-body boxing. And this is going to last for a period of about 5 minutes or so, get a little blood flowing. Mr. Gorvin.
Yes, good morning. How are you guys doing today? My name is Eric Govan, and I am the master of mind-body boxing. But today we're going to focus more on the mind-body part of that. So you don't have to get out of your seats. You don't got to be worried. I'm not going to, make you do something overly intense. But it's important that in everything that we do it with a calm mind and a gentle spirit. Okay, so we're just going to get to a nice place of relaxation. Only going to take 5 minutes of your time. All right, so if you just want to take your time with me right now and just interlock your fingers, just right in front of your body, just right on your lap, just like that. Right, and we're going to get focused on our breath. Okay, so I want you to take a nice deep breath. Right, so when you breathe in with your fingers interlocked in front of your body, I want you to raise your hands towards the ceiling and just stretch it out nice and easy, just like that. All right. Now I want you to go ahead and open your fingers and slowly bend your arms and just pinch together your shoulder blades. That's real good. Now stretch your arms straight out. Good job. Now take a nice deep breath and raise your arms to the ceiling. Now, as you exhale, I want you to bring your arms down in front of your body, nice and easy. Nice and slow. Nice and relaxed. Good, that was nice and easy. We're going to do that one more time. And unlock your fingers in front of your body. Take a nice deep breath. Raise your hands to the ceiling. Good job. Now, this time as you exhale, I want you to bend to the left. A little to the left. Breathe in, come back to center. Now go to the right. Breathe in, come back to center. Back to the left. Back to the center. I want you to slightly bend backwards. Slightly separate your fingers. Bend your arms, pinch your shoulder blades together. Now just let your arms fall to the side. Good. I want you to turn your head from right to left, as if you're touching your chin to your shoulder. Nice and slow. Nice and easy. Nice and relaxed. And we're going to bring our head to center. I want you to tuck your chin down. And then we're going to do big circles with the head. Make sure you inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down. That's 2. That's 3. And we're going to change directions. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. That's 2. One more. 3 to 4. All right, now, let's take one more nice deep breath. Raise your hands all the way to the ceiling. This time, bring your palms together at the top. Bring your hands down on the back of your head. Good. And let the weight of your arms just pull forward and pull down on the back of your neck. Just let the weight of your arms nice and relaxed. Now I want you to take a nice deep breath from this position. Inhale. Blow it out. Now this time when you inhale, I want you to bring your head back up and push against your palms. Open your arms nice and wide. Take a nice deep breath and blow it out. This time when you inhale, I want you to dip to the right and just rotate across your diaphragm. 1, 2 times, and just go opposite direction. 1, 2 times. Nice and good. Now take a nice deep inhale, raise your hands back up, over top. Exhale, separate your fingers. Bring your arms down. Pinch your shoulder blades together. Stick your hands straight out. Make sure you reach with your fingertips. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale, bring your hands up all the way. Exhale, bring your hands down in front of your body, nice and slow. Feel that nice, good energy coming into your body. All right, that's your morning warm-up. A little bit of morning mindfulness. And I hope this little bit of peace travels with you for the rest of the weekend.
Should our speakers say anything that you say, I'd like to have some clarity on that, or I don't fully understand, please use the chat feature and direct your questions and concerns to the speakers. Dr. Roland Thorpe Jr. is from the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. Just by nature and by virtue of such prestigious appointment, I'm sure you will agree. Whatever he has to say, I want to hear it. Mr. Thorpe, Dr. Thorpe, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Passion. I first want to say thank you to Mr. Jimmy Slade, Mr. Will Battle, and Mr. Rodney Minor for the gracious invitation to speak before you today. I must say that I am recentered for today and for the weekend, opening up with the prayer, and then in addition and opening up with the prayer, also the mindfulness. It has really centered me. I just want to take a few moments to talk about just men's health in general, specifically Black men's health. Because I think it's one of the things that I've always say that Black men are the health of Black men are hidden in plain sight, right? I think that's is a very true idea, because we have some of the worst health profiles in the country as it relates to any other racial ethnic group, with the exception of probably Native Americans. And so I want to just share with you a few moments, tell you a little bit of how I got into this, and talk to you about some things that I've learned during my journey. What really got me interested in Black men's health was that both of my grandfathers died in their 60s of heart disease. And I believe they should have just lived longer, but certain circumstances truly shortened their lives. They were both Black men that lived in the South, and they rarely went to the doctor for preventive care. Rodney Minor mentioned that earlier. Get your checkups. I believe it's really important for Black men to get their checkup. I often say that Black men believe in health. Many, not all, but many believe in health repair instead of health maintenance. So what do I mean by that? Is that we typically show up at the ER with a condition that oftentimes could have been prevented through checkups. I'm gonna say that again. Oftentimes, many of us end up in the ER with a condition that oftentimes could have been prevented through checkups. Now, there are a number of reasons why why Black men typically haven't gone to the doctor, but I want to encourage all of us, and I want us to make a pact. If we're not going to get annual checkups, from this day forward, we would start to go get annual checkups. I think it's very important so that we be able to extend our lives and spend time and strengthen our communities and families and spend time with our families. The idea of why Black men, or the question of why Black men typically live shorter lives is an interesting question, but I think the answers we all know are pretty common to us. So we have these forces around us that have been in place for years, such as racism and discrimination, that do certainly have an impact on our health and health outcomes. And so I think what we have to think about is how do we start to think as a group of men, how do we move forward to overcome some of these things for us to then think about health and health benefit and our health outcomes. One of the key things I think we do as Black men is we are caretakers by nature. And I think what it is that we typically do is that we prioritize particularly other family members' health as opposed to our own health. Well, I think that is a good thing to do, but I often ask the question, I often say, if we don't prioritize our health, then how can we take care of the others that we should be taking care of? So I want to encourage all the men on the call to do. I'm going to accumulate the list as I go throughout my talk. One is that we're going to agree to go have an annual checkup each year. So I'm not even asking, I'm just saying we're agreeing together collectively. I see a couple people laughing. We're agreeing collectively to do that. If you don't go to an annual checkup, go get your annual checkup. And the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to start talking to one another about our health issues. Oftentimes, Black men don't want to share with each other about their health conditions because it seems to be a sign of weakness. In fact, it's not, because if you remember historically, we have always worked collectively together to better ourselves. So I don't understand why, when it comes to our own health, that seems to take a back seat. I encourage us to work collectively and to go to the doctor. Now, also, I think one of the other things I think we need to be mindful of is that when we're thinking about men's health and what is it that we need to actually do for ourselves, we need to understand there are some things that when we go to the doctor, there's some things we must do when we get there. And I want to just talk about those for a moment, if you'll give me a moment to talk about those. When you go to the doctor, tell the doctor the truth. Tell the doctor the truth. Don't go up in there talking, oh, how many drinks do you drink? Oh, I drank one drink a month. When you know you drank more than one drink a month. Because even if you don't tell them, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out at the end. So you want to be open and honest about your health conditions, particularly with your healthcare provider, so that they can provide you with the best possible treatment. And when you do get advice or you do get a prescription, please fill the prescriptions, because that's another thing we don't do. We'll end up going and then we'll get the prescription and we won't fill it. So I think it's important to fill it and be adherent to your treatment regimen. You know, stay on top of it. Do the things that we know we should be doing. Because many times, brothers, we know what to do. We just don't want to do it. So we know exactly what needs to be done. We just don't do it. So let's stop that behavior, right? We know what we need to do and we're supposed to do to take care of ourselves. And so I suggest that we actually start doing that. And the other thing I'm going to ask you, I'm going to volunteer you to do with me, and I need some help on this. Mr. Will Battle knows this. We need to eat better. We need to eat better. So see, I'm coming up and I am modeling the behavior I want you all to have. We need to eat better. I need to, and I'm saying it to a group of people starting today and I'm modeling this behavior. Pastor, I need to eat better. So that's the first step, is opening up and owning it. So I have been working toward eating better, and I've been talking to Mr. Slade and Mr. Battle about some vegetable consumption. So I've been doing much better. And so I will check in with them when time to time we want to call, and I will talk about vegetables. I'm from Macon, Georgia, so I'm from the South. So you can imagine the diet that I like. We don't have enough time in this series to get into the diet that I like, but it must be the diet. My diet must be altered, and I have to start taking steps to do that. And so I'm asking Mr. Will Battle to be my enforcer. So you check on me and see if I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and I is eating better. And I think we need to make better choices. Now, brothers, you know, we ain't going to flip the switch overnight, but we can start taking baby steps, you know. So I think what we need to do is we need to move incrementally, small steps to making our lives better. And the things that we have control over, I think we should make a concerted effort where possible and when possible. And I know I think Mr. Govan started us out wonderfully, centering us. One thing I have started back doing is I have started back running. So I really feel better with that. If you can get out and get some exercise, I'm not suggesting that you run, but I'm suggesting that, you know, just doing some of the stuff that Mr. Govan really started us off with this morning is a great start. You know, I've actually started walking as well. So I think those are some small things that I think are really important for us to do in our lives so that we may be able to better ourselves. Finally, the final thing I want to make note today is that, you know, I didn't want to go over the horror stories of, you know, we're doing horrible on all these different statistics. I think many of us know that we have some high rates of obesity, high rates of hypertension and diabetes that plague the African-American community, particularly men. And men, as it relates to prostate cancer, you know, Black men, we're doing very, very bad. But I think if we start moving forward as we move into prostate cancer awareness, I think if we think about the things beyond treatment that can help us, these things that I just mentioned, eating, trying to modify your diet one step at a time, increasing your physical activity, getting annual checkups. If you don't get annual checkups, establishing a relationship with a good doctor that you can have bi-directional communication. Bi-directional communication is very important. You know, you want to be able to share your thoughts, and you want to at least be a part of the decision-making process on many of the things. Because if you know you're not going to take the medication and they keep saying it, that's not doing anything but creating tension between you two, and then ultimately it is affecting you. So we want to create bi-directional conversation with the physician so you come to a common goal on the best treatment adherence and regimen for you. And then I think we want to move forward in that way as we go to Prostate Cancer Month that's coming up. I think that is one of the most important things that we want to be able to do, is to take control of your health and well-being, because we are still the pillars of the African American community. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Thorpe. We certainly appreciate your vulnerability as well as your transparency, how you added what caused your yearning to seek to improve health. Personal story of course, your grandfather and your father. And we are so excited and appreciate you for having taken that yearning and then placed in it a kind of burning for learning even further. Again, we appreciate the fact that you're the Associate Professor of Health, Behavior, and Society at Johns Hopkins. Can't emphasize that enough. And the fact that you serve as the Director of the Program for Research on Men's Health at the same said place. Appreciate how you focus on the socioeconomic health disparities that really are prevalent, particularly among men of color in this nation and men in general. Thank you so very much for sharing. Again, I'm asking those of you who might want clarification, use the chat feature and direct questions to our speakers. After they've finished, it's quite all right. I'm sure they will respond to you in some format. Now, I also want to ask you to welcome our keynote. And our keynote is Dr. Richard O. Kennedy. Dr. Kennedy has been involved in medicine and the treatment. He is an internist, internal medicine physician, and he practices, of course, in the District of Columbia. And that would literally indicate to all of us in the DMV that obviously he has had over 20 years also a plethora of, he's engaged and treated people at all levels. And so would you please now join in with ears perked as we hear again concerning prostate cancer specifically, and anything else that the doctor wants to provide. Dr. Kennedy.
Well, good morning, everyone. Dr. Bell, thank you so much for your introduction. Dr. Thorpe and Mr. Govan, thank you so much for your wonderful words and heartfelt thoughts on this morning. Prostate cancer is really personal to me. I am a 9-year survivor of prostate cancer. My dad had prostate cancer. My little brother last year was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So it's close to home. I'm actually going to start out by telling you a story because I think it brings home as how we as men of color take, as Dr. Thorpe said, we don't really spend a lot of time with the healthcare system. A lot of that has to do with our, what's the best way? A lot of that has to do with our lack of faith in the healthcare system. And I would say, as a doctor, I see it on both sides. I see where I've been as a patient, and it became a humbling experience. But let me start with my dad, who's originally from Jamaica. And at the age of 70, started to have some urinary symptoms. and he was having trouble getting up all hours of the night to urinate. My mom complained. So my dad, instead of going to see somebody about it, basically went to the local store and bought a urinal, put it at the side of the bed so he wouldn't have to get out of the bed to wake her up. That lasted for about 8 months, and then one day stopped urinating altogether. Ended up in an emergency room because he was in so much pain because he hadn't urinated for 3 days. Turned out he had an enlarged prostate, and when they did a quick biopsy, they found out he had prostate cancer. His PSA at the time, and we'll talk about that a little bit, the prostate-specific antigen blood test, this is 1988 now, was 103.2. Normal PSA, less than 4. So they gave him the options back then to treat this. And they said, you have 3 options. You can't do surgery because we found it on your spine. So you have radiation, testicular removal, removing the testes, and hormone therapy. My father declined them all, partly because they told him, well, if you remove your testicles, your manhood's gone. So that was not going to happen. Following that, they gave him the hormones for about a month, but the side effect of the hormones, because they're giving you forms of estrogen, gave him breast. That didn't work either. So he declined any further treatment. And this goes to the point about most men will live with prostate cancer and will die of something else. He was 70, he lived to 82 years old before he passed, not of prostate cancer, but of colon cancer. Fast forward to 2006, my PSA was 2.5. And that's a normal PSA. I just, I would do it annually. It had the rectal exam. The urologist never felt anything. And 2 years later, my PSA jumped to 5.1. At that time, we had a long discussion about whether I should have a biopsy or not. I declined. I didn't have any symptoms. I wasn't having any urinary symptoms. I was perfectly fine. And I'm a doctor. I do this every day. The following year, my wife basically, and this is where we as men who don't do the right thing, good that we have partners who, as they say, push the envelope and basically give you an alternative. Do this or move on. So I went and had another PSA, and it had gone to 6.6 in a year's time. Of course, then I had the biopsy, which confirmed that I had prostate cancer, mostly on the left side of my prostate. I went to 3 different urologists plus an radiation oncologist to determine what were the options for me. It was localized, so I decided to have the surgery. And as I am here today, 9 more years, my PSA to this date has never been above 0.01 since that time, which is confirmation that I am very much a survivor. And going back on what Dr. Thorpe said about the importance of us getting checked out to see someone. Yes, racial disparities do come into play. Socioeconomic status absolutely comes into play. But it's really important to realize that early detection, and when they quote the statistics about the death rates of prostate cancer, and last year alone, there were 5,350 men in the United States who died of prostate cancer. And when you have, and I always say, cancer is still the one sort of disease that we as humans attach the word death to. We talk about diabetes and blood pressure and thyroid and everything else, heart disease as well. We don't talk about it in the same vein. It's important that you go and get screened. Many men, and African American, I've heard this many times, I don't want to do the PSA, but I surely don't want you to do a rectal exam. That will violate me. And so many of them avoid it. And because in the majority of men, prostate cancer is a symptom-free disease. And the national recommendations say, because of that, it is not typically recommended that we do PSA screenings just because it doesn't give benefit, meaning that if you're going to have a 10-year lifespan, it's more reasonable. For white men, it's 50, you start screening at 50. For African American men, it's 45. But if you have additional risk factors, i.e. a first degree relative, a father, a brother, and many believe that if a brother is an even higher risk, so you start screening. That despite the disparities, there have been improvements and reduction in prostate cancer in the last 30 years. We use the death rate from prostate cancer in African American men dropped by 50% from 1993 to 2019. And that was due in part to PSA screening. And doing the PSA blood tests as well as the digital rectal exam will give guidance and direction for us as providers, but it also gives the patient information. We need to let them understand that not everybody needs a PSA right away, but I'd almost say just being Black is a risk factor. And we see that because every disease that we know about, Black people have more severe outcomes, are diagnosed at the later stages of the disease the first time they get into the healthcare system, and don't live as long. Again, African American men, in this country, the average age is 70, 71, 72. White men is 77, 78. We need to do all the things, and as Dr. Thorpe said, changing our diet. Most of us, whether we are from the South originally or not, no matter where you are in the country, the history of slavery and what it did and how we survived and what was considered a normal diet have extended throughout the country. So and most people migrated, once slavery ended, migrated north and west. And they took their lifestyle and their diets with them. So we still have people in New York City and in Maine who still like the pork spare ribs and the fat back and, cooking with the lard and the chocolate cake with, we understand that. And it's important to limit those things and reduce those things. There's no question that a diet high in fruits and vegetables is healthy. It promotes excellent bloodstream to all the organs of the body. It helps with cleansing. It reduces weight. America in general is fat, but people of color are a whole lot fatter, no question. So we have to work harder to do that. Exercise. Lots of people think that, and this pandemic has sort of taught us a lot of things about ourselves because we've had to lock down and stay at home. And lots of people who love the fitness centers were closed. And because they don't have anything at home, they forgot that, just simply getting out and taking a walk for half an hour is as good as being on a treadmill. We need to get rest. We need to be able to learn all of the things that take the stresses of life away, or at least help to mitigate them, or will improve those things. I tell all my patients, you're the one that guides your treatment. My job is to help you get there. But you're with yourself 100% of the time. You're with me for 10% of that time. If we agree on a plan, you have to take stock. You have to work on yourself. And it takes time. We didn't gain the 20 pounds in the last 2 months, so don't be surprised if it takes more than 6 months to get rid of it. We're going to change your diet. It's hard. And I always say that a person who has a diagnosis of cancer, everybody in the house is part of that process. Because you can't have one person have steak and fries and the other person eating a salad, and it work. It's just not going to work. There has to be an implied agreement, and the goal is we all want to live longer. And what technology and advances in healthcare have done has allowed us to live longer. But what we want to have is quality. And the only way you do that is by doing the little things. So by going and getting a regular checkup and making sure that you lose weight, which will affect in a positive way your blood sugar, will affect in a positive way your blood pressure. I think it's important that don't be afraid of the healthcare system. The one thing we have in this country that many other places don't have is choice. And just like you go into a store or a restaurant and you don't like the service, you might complain, but you may not ever go back. Well, if you go to a doctor and that doctor does not communicate with you, listen, you need to find another one. I'm open for business, so you're more than welcome to come and see me down in DC. And I have colleagues all over the DMV who will be more than willing to work with you. But you have to take the first steps. I think I'm gonna close right here. I wanna thank everybody for listening to me. And once a survivor, always a survivor. Thank you.
Thank you so very, very much, Dr. Kennedy. Listen, I hope that everyone say that he's open for business. And then in a selfless put in the accent that he and colleagues around the DMV and Washington, D.C. would certainly look forward to serving you. I really have a high appreciation to hear a doctor also challenge the rest of us. If we are not receiving what we think we need, or if we are being spoken with, or the conversation is too one-sided, and you're not listened to, if you will, find someone else. Makes sense to me. And of course, both of these physicians have given us some very, very beneficial help. I could go on, but in the interest of time and for the other persons who are coming, we certainly want to go to that. But let us now have just a period of about 5 minutes or so of entertainment, some comedy, if you will. And so we are grateful for a veteran, another veteran, retired, or a person who served in the United States Army by the name of Mr. Tim Miller. And we are grateful for what he's going to share. Mr. Miller, please.
He's delayed.
Pastor, Mr. Miller is delayed, so if we can proceed with the program, please. Thank you.
Well, we have some authors who are going to share with us. And these authors are Mr. Derek A. Butts and Thomas A. Butts, Jr., United States Army, retired, also a veteran. This is a father and son team. They can give you all that information and also listen attentively, because you might need to have their book in your library. The Butts father and son team, please.
Good morning. My name is Derek A. Butts, and I am a 4-year prostate cancer survivor, and I'm age 58. My father, Thomas A. Butts, he is a 25-year prostate cancer survivor. He's also a veteran, as mentioned earlier, and he is age 86. Taking on our journey, my father and I wrote this book, Prostate Cancer, A Family Affair. And as Dr. Kennedy mentioned earlier, he also had in his family, our family history included my grandfather had prostate cancer, my father's had prostate cancer, my uncles had prostate cancer, and I had prostate cancer. It was one of those things, it wasn't a matter if I was going to get prostate cancer, it was just a matter of when. And I credit my father for preparing me, because a lot of people don't really have access to information as far as prostate cancer. And as I found, and also talking to my father, you know, it's one of those things, they didn't really talk about prostate cancer and things of that nature that affected them. And because of that, it was one of those things that really helped me out. As Dr. Kennedy also mentioned, for those that have a family history of prostate cancer, it's very important to get checked early. He mentioned age 40. I actually started getting checked at age 38. And it's one of the things you hear about today is asymptomatic. I had no prevalent symptoms of prostate cancer. I didn't have any frequency of urination. I didn't have any large prostate. I did not have any indication that say my prostate was affected other than my PSA. And the only reason why I knew this was my PSA started rising. I went from 1 year from a 3.2 to a 4.2 in 1 year. I went to go get a checkup. My doctor at the time said he wanted me to do active surveillance. Active surveillance is something I was not going to do. I wanted to be more aggressive and really wanted to find out what was going on. So I went and got a second opinion. By the time I got a second opinion, my prostate PSA had went from 4.2 to 5.62. So I knew at this point, within a month's time, my prostate cancer was very aggressive. And looking at this, I looked at the options, and my father, who had prostate cancer before me, he had a radical prostatectomy, which meant they removed the prostate. I had to look at my options at the time to figure out what was going to be the best for me. And talking with my wife and my family, my sons, and really understanding, because of my active lifestyle. I'm a century cyclist, I'm a martial arts instructor, and I live a pretty active lifestyle. And I didn't want prostate cancer to hinder my quality of life. So one of the things I looked at, the option best for me was a radical prostatectomy, but also the fact of having it taken out so I would not have to keep monitoring or keep having to maintain it. And doing this before my prostate cancer journey, my father actually started writing this book, Prostate Cancer. And when I was diagnosed literally a year later after he started, one of the things I said, you know, since you started this book, I will write the second half and kind of do our journey. And what we did is he takes you through the first part of our book of his experiences through his prostate cancer, when it was diagnosed, how he's living with it now after 25 years. And in the second half of the book, I actually talk about my journey, his journey being pre-robotics, and then my journey being with robotics. And we take you through the quality of life of what we've experienced from pre-surgery to post-surgery, from 1 to 2 years afterwards, and just how it not only affects you, but also your family. As I mentioned earlier, your spouse is a very important part of this. And as some people or men may experience anxiety or depression, your spouse or significant other will also go through this. So prostate cancer, as Dr. Kennedy also said, is not just the man, but it's the family and those that love you around you. We thought it was important talking to my father about writing this book so people could be more proactive in addressing their prostate health. Too many prostate people have had prostate. When I talk to them, and we've interviewed quite a few people about their journey, a lot of them really didn't have someone to talk to. A lot of them didn't have a family history where they could go to someone and ask them, what was your experience like? What was the feeling? Why did you choose the option that you chose? And a lot of them also, as mentioned with Dr. Kennedy, just go into your doctor and say, what are the questions to ask your doctor? You know, if you don't have symptoms, how do you know? Again, being proactive with it is when you get to that certain age, if you don't have a family history or know about it, is really taking the onus on yourself to go visit that doctor and have that conversation. And bring your wife, bring your spouse, bring your significant other, because they need to understand what everybody may be going through in that particular family. And that's important, so everybody's on the same page. I keep referring to Dr. Kennedy because he had a great story. The food, the things that you eat, we've changed our diet. That's very important. What you put in your mouth affects your body, your temple. And you want to be around for your loved ones. It's not just a you thing, it's really a family thing. And as part of that is really understanding this journey. So from when we went through this journey, as I had my father to go through, but at the same time, when I was looking to what could be I possibly experience from robotics, I wanted to talk to people who had gone through a robotics procedure. And part of that was really understanding what was your expectation? What did you experience after your surgery? Now, as I mentioned, I'm a century cyclist. So for me, I was in pretty good shape. I felt my recovery would be pretty hopefully quickly. But I asked, when I talked to my doctors, I said, I am a very healthy, active individual and a martial arts instructor. I would like to talk to someone else who's a martial arts instructor in martial arts, who has a very active lifestyle, and understand what their experience has been. Now, you can understand due to HIPAA compliances, I had to get the okay to make that happen. But the doctor was able to find someone with a very active lifestyle, and I was able to talk to him. He was a lawyer. He was 62. And at the time when I talked to him, he also told me his brother had also experienced prostate cancer. They also had a family issue. So for me, he basically said after the surgery, it was roughly about 3 to 4 months, that he was pretty much living life as normal. And he really didn't skip a beat. With me being now 4 years out, I can say my PSA is also undetectable, but also my quality of life has never been better. The interaction with my wife, the interaction with my family, as far as my livelihood and my lifestyle, I don't have to worry about limiting what I do. I still do roughly 50 miles a week. I'm still a very active martial arts instructor. And in writing this book, we also want to make sure we get the word out to people really understand, you know, prostate cancer does not really have to be a life or death sentence. If you are proactive in maintaining your health, you can get ahead and you can stay on top of it. And we're really trying to encourage those to really do that. And one of the things we've been working to form also is a group called Prostate Cancer Awareness Alliance in the DMV. And this has really kind of helped to people understand what to do and kind of be proactive and work with alliances to really better understand how they can get a hold of their prostate health. For those that really want to get more information about our book, you can go to derekbutts.com. It gives you more about myself, more about my father. Our book is located on Amazon. It's in a paperback and Kindle form. And it's a quick read. It's only 57 pages. It's not meant to bore you down with a lot of legal or medical jargon, but it's going to give you very candid conversations and very everyday life experiences from, your first flight, going back to work, understanding how to deal with little things that you may have as far as side effects. I personally had no side effects, as my father has had side effects and my uncle has had side effects. But everybody's journey is going to be different. But the key thing is you got to start that journey and you got to be proactive with that. With that, Dad, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else.
Yes, my name is Thomas Butts, and I am 86 years old, and I have survived prostate cancer for 26 years. That's correction from what my son just mentioned to you. I used to work for the Navy, the Department of the Navy, and I used to ride ships and submarines for 30 years. And I was required by the federal government to have a physical examination by a Navy doctor once a year. And because of that, the Navy doctor discovered in February, when I was 60 years old, that I had a prostate problem. He suggested I see my urologist as soon as possible to get examined by a urologist to find out what stage of cancer did I have. I did make an appointment to see my primary physician, who referred me to a urologist. And the urologist examined me, and he said he had to have a biopsy to confirm that I didn't have prostate cancer. And he did that, and then in 2 days he called me and told me that I did have prostate cancer. But I have been very active as far as walking concerned, and I'm glad I'm still here to deal with the problems that you are confronted with from the operation that I had. But prostate cancer is a big change of life. And I'm glad that I was able to be here to make the changes and to still be living.
That's one of the things my father mentioned. He's still here, even though with the side effects he had from his prostate cancer surgery. We are very glad he's still here. And as some of the Dr. Kennedy mentioned earlier, some men don't want that digital rectal exam, or they don't want to go through other certain tests. As mentioned earlier, it's important that you're still here, not only for yourself, but also for your family. For those interested, here's a copy of the cover of our book. It's basically 3 strong men, as our story talks about the 3 men who were survivors in our particular lives. And like I said, hopefully you can get it. It's a good read. If you do get it, please give us some comments and feedback of your thing. And also, if there's somebody else in your life that may benefit from it, get them a copy as well. Again, thank you for your time.
Certainly, we appreciate your contribution to the welfare of humankind and men in particular. Certainly encourage you to oblige yourself or someone else who might need to know and understand about prostate cancer. Now, you need no better example to understand and embrace. Being diagnosed with it is not an automatic, I'm going to die in the morning. Can you believe that Mr. Thomas A. Butts Jr., 26 years survivor? He looks quite amazing. Now, please, attention to Colonel Jimmy Slade, United States Air Force retiree, community ministry of Prince George's County, Maryland.
Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning, the ladies that are on the call as well. I want to first thank the pastor, thank Brother Rodney Minor, acknowledge and thank Professor Thorpe and Dr. Kennedy and others for the very informative and great presentations this morning. I've been involved with prostate education and cancer research for the last 12 years. A little bit about myself. I'll make one correction. Even though I was in Air Force ROTC for the first 2 years, I went into Army ROTC. I'm a Colonel, U.S. Army retired. Okay, no problem, Pastor. After 30 years of service, I retired in 2000. I'm an intelligence officer. And I want to say that my pastor, the late William Thomas Jr. of Antioch Baptist Church of Upper Marlboro, is the one that referred me to community ministry of Prince George's County to attend their meetings. I became a board member and later I became the executive director. And also Pastor Thomas was a prostate cancer survivor. And he often spoke from the pulpit and in all other settings about being a prostate cancer survivor and the need for us to pay attention to that. I didn't really know anything about it. And as it turns out, I think this is my calling because I don't have a high PSA. I don't have any prostate issue that I'm aware of. My PSA is less than 1. In my family, it's heart attack and diabetes is the issue. But what I want to say this morning is I want to say that we're blessed after my working with University of Maryland School of Public Health and the Johns Hopkins Center for the Reduction of Cancer Disparities in implementing 3 major cancer research and education projects with churches throughout Prince George's County and also in Baltimore, approximately 46 churches or so that we've worked with since 2010. And all of them have been teaching prostate cancer and breast cancer and colorectal cancer within their churches. I'm very, very pleased to say that about a month or so ago, the University of Maryland, Baltimore Greenbaum Cancer Center invited me and my team to lead a cancer needs assessment of 10 counties throughout Maryland. We received our institutional review board approval this week. And as Professor Thorpe knows, you can't do anything publicly until you get that institutional board approval. So I can tell you now, as of a couple of days ago, we have that. So I can tell you we're conducting a survey of cancer needs, 10-minute survey. We provide you a $15 gift card, and we're doing all of the counties from Charles, Prince George's, Montgomery, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, all the way out to Washington County, and all in between. We are experiencing some technical problems this morning, and that's why you may have seen me with the telephone to my ear, because we've got a hacker on our Qualtrics platform at the present time, and so we'll be convening a meeting today to deal with that. But also, we will be doing this survey from now through the 31st of December 2020, and I certainly would appreciate your participating. Remember, if you will, Maryland Health Survey. Even remember hashtag Maryland Health Survey, and that will get you there through almost all of your social media platforms. I'm even more pleased to tell you that the Office of Minority Health and Health Disparities of Maryland has selected Community Ministry of Prince George's County to lead a prostate cancer program for African American men for 1 year, and with an opportunity to renew it a second year if we get the appropriate participation in all of that. The partners are many of the people on the call today. I'm a founding member of the Prostate Cancer Awareness Alliance, DMV. President Derek Butts leads that, and Rodney Miner and William Battle are also founding members. They are partners in this prostate program. Luminous Health Cancer Service, which is a combination of Anne Arundel Medical Center and Doctors Hospital, they are partners in this effort. Johns Hopkins Center for the Reduction of Cancer Disparities, Professor Roland Thorpe, full professor at Johns Hopkins University, one of the authors of the Men's Health Study, the only one of his kind in America, only one of his kind has ever occurred, and he's leading that effort, he and others as well. And several other people, including the University of Maryland School of Public Health, are all partners in this. So together we commit ourselves to say that over the next year, we seek to provide in-depth instructions, education, and support in the area of education, in the area of informed decision-making for screenings, treatment, and survivor support, because Hope Connection for Cancer Support is also a partner in this effort. And we're also committed, if we can get a little more funding, and we're seeking that, to incorporate immigrant men in the effort, Caribbean and African descent particularly, and health partners. Blue Flowers Org specializes in speaking with women about health and prostate. Why do we do all of this? We do this because of the high mortality rate of African American men. In Prince George's County in 2016, the last year that public statistics are put out at the present time, of the men that died of prostate cancer, 81.9% of them are African American men. In Baltimore City, of the men that died of prostate cancer in 2016, 85% are African American men. So we want to do as others have stated today, we want to help educate ourselves so that we can live longer and be with our families. And thank you so much for that, Army, Airborne, all the way.
Hopefully that clears up the issues. As I was stating, we certainly appreciate and we thank you, Colonel, for your service, for your leading by example, and your continued service to the community ministry of Prince George's County, Maryland, and beyond. His words were credible, very valuable, and I hope personally we will have the opportunity to stay in dialogue. When this too shall have passed, obviously prostate cancer could care less about the seasons, and we're being plagued in great numbers. Those statistics were literally frightening. Hopefully that clears up the issues. As I was stating, we certainly appreciate and we thank you, Colonel, for your service, for your leading by example, and your continued service to the community ministry of Prince George's County, Maryland, and beyond. His words were credible, very valuable, and I hope personally we will have the opportunity to stay in dialogue. When this too shall have passed, obviously prostate cancer could care less about the seasons, and we're being plagued in great numbers. Those statistics were literally frightening. Now, another veteran, and hopefully I have this correct, U.S. Navy veteran, Mr. William Battle, EMMANUEL Health Education. Please.
Well, thank you, Pastor, and I really appreciate the introduction. Good morning to everyone on the panel, on the call. I'm William Battle, EMMANUEL Health President and founder of EMMANUEL Health Education Incorporated. We are a nonprofit 501c3 located in Prince George's County. And I think what everyone has said thus far about prostate cancer is what we represent. I just want to thank my colleague, Jimmy, who expressed the statistics so eloquently in Prince George's County and Baltimore. Brother Derek Butts, you and your dad, for what you bring to the table relative to prostate cancer, sharing your story. And Brother Rodney, for being as diligent as you are in terms of pushing the message. I won't be before you long, but I'll just take a moment and share with you what Brother Jimmy had alluded to as it relates to, moving forward with advocating for this issue of prostate cancer in Prince George's, well, not just Prince George's County, but the state of Maryland relative to African-American men. In 2019, EMMANUEL Health Education Incorporated, we sponsored a bicycle ride under the umbrella of Prostate Cancer Awareness, Education, and Advocacy. And at that event, Brother Rodney Minor, whom I met at a program at Howard University, I do believe Brother Burnside was doing a prostate cancer. And I was at the event and I was advertising the bike ride. I had it on the back of my shirt. And Brother Rodney was, I think he was probably maybe a year or so out of surgery, and he saw me walking around with my shirt on, and he approached me. He said, "Brother, I don't know what it is that you're doing, but we need to talk because I want to be a part of that." And from that, we continued to meet. He actually came and spoke at the bike ride. He shared his story, which was a powerful story. I mean, talk about someone that is transparent, powerful story. At any rate, we continued to talk. And Rodney said, "Hey, listen, I know someone that wrote a book. He and his dad had prostate cancer." He said, "We should meet and we should, have a conversation." And so from that, we met. And I listened to what Brother Derek had to say. And I said, "Hey, listen, I know a guy that we got to bring this guy to the table. His name is Jimmy Slade. And he has been involved with this prostate cancer far beyond the time that I have. And we got to get him to the table." And Rodney had always pushed, I believe we all had pushed the coming together and forming a coalition. And so from that, conversations that the four of us had, we initiated what's called the Prostate Cancer Awareness Alliance to cover the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you see Brother Derek sitting there behind him, you see that PCAA-DMV. That's who we are. And I'm pleased to work alongside Brother Derek as president of the Prostate Cancer Awareness Alliance, Brother Jimmy Slade as the first vice president, Brother Rodney Minor as our secretary, and I'm the treasurer. And we have I don't know if the correct word would be toil over pulling this thing together over the last couple of months, but we have managed to make some tremendous strides in terms of formulating this coalition. And the coalition represents absolutely everything everyone has said. Dr. Kennedy, Brother Derek and your dad, Brother Slade and Brother Rodney, everything that has encompassed that we can encompass from what they share is what the PCAA is all about. And so, we're looking forward to bringing our thoughts and our minds together as one unit with four working parts as a means of continuing to educate and advocate for prostate cancer among African-American men in Prince George's County, Baltimore, and beyond. So I won't be long for you, but I will say, hey, look, leave the light on for us because we're right around the corner from you. And we're coming, and we're going to have some tremendous impact on this area of what we truly feel that there's a need. We are all singing the same song. Derek, Jimmy, myself, and Rodney, we're all singing the same song, but we're just going to be one voice singing that now. So thank everyone. Thank you very kindly, Mr. Butts, Derek, Dr. Kennedy, for sharing your stories. We look forward to communicating with you more. And we look forward as a coalition, PCAA-DMV, in terms of getting out there, being in the forefront as a unit to further advance education and awareness relative to this prostate cancer, particularly among African-American men. Thank you very kindly.
Certainly, we appreciate what you have shared with us. And I've called the names of the other persons on the team. And because, you really cannot be effective in your efforts if you put all into just yourself. But when you've assembled a team such as BRTV Consulting has, and the other alliance that's been developed, and all of the persons presented, you've heard a basic common thread, a silver thread, if you will, that has been woven into the tapestry of every presentation. We have to do a little better at guarding ourselves, appreciating ourselves, and taking care of ourselves.
Good morning, and hi, I'm Thelma D. Jones, founder of the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund. I am so honored to be a part of this session. I want to thank Reverend Dr. Bell for hosting it and for the excellent work and dedication and commitment that Rodney Minor has in conducting these wonderful sessions. The Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund is so honored to be one of the strategic partners with Rodney Minor, who is also, I am pleased to say, an ambassador for the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund. This has been a truly wonderful and inspiring session, and the speakers, kudos to all of you for the enriching and empowering information that you have shared, and basically every aspect of prostate cancer and overall men's health. I think you've shared enough for us to walk away feeling empowered, not just the men, but members of the family as well, if they are on the line, because as a number of you have said, particularly Dr. Kennedy, who I might add is a board member on the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, a number of you have emphasized that cancer is not just an individual thing, it's a family affair. So hopefully other members online will gather information from this and be inspired to become better advocates for themselves and their family. The Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund mission is to help to reduce the incidence and mortality rates of breast cancer in women, men, and young girls. And we do this through outreach, education, and support. Our signature program is a monthly breast cancer support group, which I might mention has been nationally recognized at least 3 times since 2015. We hold a support group meeting every 3rd Wednesday at 6 p.m. And because of the COVID pandemic, we are doing these meetings virtually on Facebook Live and Zoom. Our meeting will be Wednesday, August the 19th at 6 p.m., where we are celebrating Black Philanthropy Month. You can all visit our website at www.tdjbreastcancerfund.org, and I'll put that in the chat for everyone. So we hope you will join us for that and help us in achieving our vision, which is to embrace and achieve a world free of breast cancer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pat Jackson, the Outreach and Development Manager for Hope Connections in Prince George's County. And I want to start off my presentation by thanking Rodney Minor for inviting Hope Connections to participate in this amazing session. In addition to being on staff at Hope Connections, I am the very proud wife of a prostate cancer survivor. He survived prostate cancer 8 years ago, and he's my amazing husband. And he beat prostate cancer, continues to have negligible PSAs, and he is a very proud supporter of the programs and services that are available to him. I saw Rod Govain on the earlier presentation, and he participates in his mind-body boxing classes as well as some of the support groups for prostate cancer. Let me tell you a little bit about Hope Connections. So Hope Connections is 15 years old, and Hope Connections provides professionally facilitated support groups, educational programs, and services for prostate cancer patients, and let me back up, not simply prostate cancer patients, but all cancer patients, their prostate cancer and cancer survivors, their family members, and caregivers. All of the services are provided free of cost to anyone who needs our services. With the support of the Prince George's County Council, Hope Connections has focused on Prince George's County to provide supports because of the high disparity of prostate cancer that is prevalent in Prince George's County. None of the services that we offer could be done without the support of collaborating partners, the churches, as well as community organizations. When we look at our path forward, we'd like to expand that collaboration to corporations and businesses, which are most of my background, which is in corporate business development and outreach. So we look forward to continuing to work with Rodney and other partners that are here with us on the session today to make certain that we collectively attack the high disparities of prostate cancer in our community. If you're interested in more information about Hope Connections for Cancer Support, you can reach out to us through hopeconnectionsforcancersupport.org. Thanks very much for your time.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Carla Cornegay. I am the chair of the Veterans Council at Global Over Day Seminary and University. Good morning to everyone. I want to first applaud all of you gentlemen for navigating through your prostate cancer journey. I must say that it takes a brave soul to do that, and God. So just a little bit about Global Over Day Seminary and University. Global Over Day Seminary and University is a 501c3 interfaith e-learning global institution with corporate offices in Miramar, Florida, as well as a physical campus in Rayford, North Carolina. GAJU is a Florida Department of Education Commission of Independent Studies approved degree issuing religious institution of higher learning under Florida Statute 1005.06. Global Over Day Seminary and University curricula includes earned and honors degree programs. For example, the theology diploma, BA, MA, and PhD programs are designed for students called to the ministries of teaching and preaching. So with that being said, I would like to thank the pastor and Mr. Minor for inviting me on. I am a 100% disabled veteran, U.S. Air Force veteran. I am a single mother of 2 successful college students, and cancer has touched me because my father, he didn't have prostate cancer, but he did have kidney cancer. He was also Army veteran. My grandfather died of lung cancer. My uncle had breast cancer. He was an Army veteran. My aunt currently has intestinal cancer, and my brother passed of blood cancer. So cancer has touched me in so many ways. And I want to be able to assist veterans with regard to their health issues, whatever needs they might have, because my going to the VA hospital in DC, it has been a challenge for me, especially seeing a lot of African American men being treated for their issues, but not being, I guess, assisted properly, if you will. I've seen where they have been mistreated or just kind of not even acknowledged at the VA, and just touched my heart in a bad way. So I'm here to try to be able to connect with Mr. Minor to help bring awareness to those type issues, as well as prostate cancer issues and any other issues as it relates to veterans, to be able to help them be their best selves, be able to help them connect with entities outside of the VA to be able to bring awareness to their issues. So I'm just here to be able to help in any way that I can. I don't know, I have never had cancer, thank God, but I can just only imagine how, you know, having to deal with that can be. As a family member, my father didn't eat properly, just as you stated. I grew up in the South, I grew up on a farm, so we grew up raising hogs and so on and so forth, and they ate those things and it wasn't very healthy. So, you know, I just want to be able to help in any way that I can. Bring awareness to the prostate cancer issue, bring awareness to, you know, veterans not being able to receive the services that they need from the VA. Additionally, I am a Miss Veteran America finalist, and we also bring awareness to homeless women veterans as well. So me being a volunteer, I want to be able to share and provide my services in any way that I can. To any of you and to those other veterans who are challenged with the VA system or just, you know, healthcare overall. So thank you so much for having me.
Okay, I am supposed to introduce, who is that you say? Is it Mr. Miller? Well, look, at this hour, most of us really can enjoy just a lighter note, but I want to lay accent on our debt of gratitude and appreciation for our keynote speakers and for all of the presenters and all of the resource collaborators. Thank you again, Mr. Minor. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? Well, y'all got your mics off, so I can't hear you. Sorry I was late. I ain't been up this early since March, so this was tough for me. But I'm glad I joined. I'm glad I'm here. I've heard a lot of what, let me just quick recap of what's been going on. All the presenters were outstanding. Your host, Mr. Bell, first of all, he's a reverend, and you know he can preach because he got a suit on at 8 a.m. in the morning, all right? So that right there lets you know, go to church and watch him. It's been an interesting thing. I want to focus on Mr. Thorpe. He had a lot to say about eating healthy. All the information was good, but Mr. Thorpe's information on eating healthy, I would like to add, when you're preparing vegetables, I don't know how y'all grew up. I'm 42. I grew up, my parents would boil vegetables. That's not how you make them, okay? I didn't eat a roasted vegetable until I was 35. If I had roasted carrots at that age, my diet, I would have been so much healthier. Let me tell you, roasting vegetables takes out everything. It takes out all the flavor, any seasoning you put on it, it's all bad. So switch over to maybe roast. I'm from the South too, so I'm from Texas specifically. So brisket, that's the best way to eat meat, and I had a lot of it. So I had to change up my diet and everything. The main thing for today is really, from what I could understand, is just get checked out. And that's hard for men to do because we have this ego thing. It's like look, I'm fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Like if something hurts, women have a higher pain threshold, right? They get a headache, they can soldier through. There's a difference though what men do. We ignore pain. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I'll just deal with it. We can have our eyeball hurt and we're like, look, I'll just close it, all right, till it fixes itself. And we just go on like that. That's not the way to handle it, okay? So we got to get checked out more. That was my issue. Quick story about me. Like when I found out that I had T-cell lymphoma, it took way too long. I had lumps all over my body, and my ego was telling me, look, those are just your muscles spreading out, all right? Just these hard lumps all over my chest, that's just my muscles. It's okay. I didn't get checked out until my lady told me. I think that's a lot of us too. Your lady tells you when you got problems, down there. I don't want to get too nasty because it's reverence here, but when you got issues down there, your lady's like, you need to go and, So I finally went to get it checked out, and they said, look, you got to get a mammogram. I don't know if y'all know, the ladies might know what I'm talking about, but a mammogram is when they take your breast and they smush it to see what's in there, okay? Now, it took me a while to get my body in there because I don't have breasts. So I had to smush in there. The women at the Breast Cancer Center of Fairfax, where I went, they were not nice. They didn't care that I was a man, scared to death that I was in there. They didn't care about none of that. They just said, get your butt in here and come on, hurry up. And I was trying to get it in there. So it took me a while. I started crying, but I got it checked finally. So that's what I think, that's what I got from this lesson today. I'm glad I was here. All of you are inspirations to me, just as someone who doesn't have all kind of books behind them. That's how you know somebody's smart. When they got books all over the place behind them, that's a smart person right there. But I'm glad I was here. I'm a survivor, and I hope that you all got as much out of this as I did. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm really delighted that everyone had a chance to be here this morning, because as I stated earlier, as I've been going through this entire situation myself, I've encountered incredible people who are looking to make a difference, to have an impact in the issue of prostate cancer or cancer in general. And so it's been, I feel I'm led to really to use the tools that I have, that the Lord has given me, to bring us together, if you will, because we're all doing great things. But it's like sometimes we don't know what the other organization or individual is doing. And so what I'm motivated to do is to be like to create an atmosphere or an event or a program, if you will, so that we know what everyone's doing. We are in the process of producing, if you will, a 1-hour special that's really going to go around the region, and we're going to highlight the resources that are available for not just prostate, but for cancer in general, so that we know what's available to us in our communities. So I will be calling upon each of you as the days go on to be a part of what we are developing here. But this is a network. A couple things that keeps coming up in everyone's speech: unity, particularly the fact that for prostate cancer, it's not a death sentence. And God knows I'm thankful for that. And also the importance of getting checked. And getting checked, not just for prostate, but staying on top of all of your health checkpoints is important. So with that, we are about 5 minutes over, and I greatly appreciate Dr. Bell for hosting this event, and for our keynote speaker, Dr. Kennedy, and for Dr. Thorpe, and each and every one of you for giving of your time this morning, and as we work to develop an outlet for prostate cancer and for cancer in general. And I greatly appreciate my partners with the PCAA DMV. Each of you guys, I appreciate your support this morning. And with that, I'd like to also thank my technicians and support, Anthony Venuto, who helped on the technical end, Quantaz Minor. Another one of our executive producers is Peyton Harbert. And last but not least, the woman who calls the shots is my wife, and support for her diligent work. And she has supported me in all of my efforts here to bring all this together. We are truly thankful for everyone's effort of what you're doing and what you continue to do. And we will definitely be back in touch as we develop content for not just the business community, the veteran community, and now we add the cancer community. Thank you all, and God bless.
Even though they may have been in the infantry or artillery, soldiers are trained in leadership skills also. Once you reach a certain rank, you're going to be in charge of somebody.
If you want people that make your business run even better, and this includes the spouses of veterans, because those spouses have to do a lot. They basically have to manage a small business. As the work environment shifts and becomes more competitive, you also have these young people exposed to technology.